Some fears make sense. A bear is dangerous. A cliff edge can kill you. But most of the fears that actually run your life every day don't follow any logic at all. Today we're breaking down 6 of the strangest, most common phobias on the planet. What's actually happening inside your brain when they hit, and why they exist in the first place. Some of these you already have. You just never knew there was a name for it. Let's start with the one almost everyone recognizes: claustrophobia. You step into an elevator, the doors slide shut, and your chest tightens before anything has actually gone wrong. Nothing is broken, nobody is trapped, and yet your body reacts like the walls are closing in for real. Here's the thing, claustrophobia isn't really about small spaces. It's about exits. Your brain isn't measuring square footage, it's measuring escape routes. And the moment it calculates 0, your amygdala fires the same alarm your ancestors needed when they were cornered by something with teeth. The room hasn't changed. Your brain's threat calculator just multiplied by 10. That's why elevators, MRI machines, and packed subway cars hit hardest. It's not the size of the box, it's the locked door. And once the alarm goes off, it snowballs. Racing heart, sweating palms, an overwhelming urge to get out right now, which of course makes the space feel even smaller. The fix that actually works is almost boringly simple. Small, repeated exposure teaches your brain the door isn't actually locked. And in the moment, slow box breathing, 4 seconds in, 4 seconds held, 4 seconds out, manually overrides the alarm your ancient wiring just triggered. Next, one you probably grew out of as a kid, except a lot of adults never actually did: Nyctophobia, fear of the dark. You know logically that turning off the light doesn't change anything in the room, but something in you still checks the corner one more time. Here's what's really going on. It was never about darkness itself. It's about not being able to see what's in it. For most of human history, we were not the strongest thing walking around at night, and our threat detection system evolved for a world where the dark genuinely could kill you. So when the lights go out today, that ancient system switches to high alert, scanning shadows for shapes, turning a coat on a chair into something that might move. This is also why a nightlight isn't a childish weakness. It's just giving an old alarm system less raw material to work with. Adults who still feel it aren't broken. They're running software that's 50,000 years out of date. Number 3 is one of the most common fears in the world, and most people who have it don't even realize how many others share it: social phobia. You walk into a room and feel certain that every single person just noticed something wrong with you. Your voice, your outfit, the way you're standing. It feels like undeniable fact. It isn't. Psychologists call this the spotlight effect, and it's been tested directly. People wildly overestimate how much others notice or remember about them, because everyone is far more absorbed in their own spotlight than yours. But your brain, once it locks onto social threat, treats the possibility of embarrassment with the same intensity as physical danger, triggering the blushing, sweating, and racing pulse that then makes you even more convinced something's wrong. A feedback loop that feeds itself. Breaking it isn't about faking confidence. It's gradual exposure paired with actively noticing every single time that the audience you imagine was never really watching that closely. Now, one that isn't officially a diagnosed phobia, but triggers a stronger reaction in more people than almost anything else on this list. Trypophobia, the discomfort, sometimes outright disgust, at clusters of small holes. A lotus seed pod, a honeycomb, aerated chocolate. For most people, it's a mild shiver. For some, it's a full-body wave of nausea. The leading theory isn't about fear of danger at all. It's about disgust, an entirely different survival system. Those clustered hole patterns visually resemble things your ancestors needed to avoid for their health. Infected skin, parasite nests, the markings on some venomous animals. Researchers have found the reaction spikes hardest with patterns that closely resemble diseased tissue, which suggests you're not actually afraid of holes. You're running a disease avoidance reflex that's misfiring on a picture. Knowing that alone tends to shrink the reaction because you can consciously tell yourself, this isn't danger, this is an outdated hygiene alarm. Number 5 is one people rarely talk about because it sounds small until you're the one living with it. Emetophobia, the fear of vomiting. Not just experiencing it, but any situation that could possibly lead to it. It can start from one bad memory, one stomach bug at exactly the wrong moment, and generalize outward until it's shaping food choices, travel plans, even relationships. What makes this one so persistent is that it combines two separate alarms: disgust and loss of control. Your body has almost no way to consciously override either one once they're linked together, which is why this phobia in particular tends to respond best to structured professional support rather than self-guided exposure. If this is one you recognize in yourself, that's worth mentioning to a therapist specifically. It's more treatable than it feels from the inside. And finally, let's end on the one that's oddly become a full genre of horror movie: Coulrophobia, fear of clowns. This one has a name that sounds almost like a joke until you actually feel it in a room with one. The science here comes down to something researchers call the uncanny valley. A clown's face is human, but the expression is frozen, painted on, exaggerated into something that never actually shifts the way a real face does. Your brain is built to read micro changes in expression as a constant, second-by-second safety check. When a face refuses to give you any of that real signal, your threat system can't confirm it's safe, so it defaults to alarm. Add decades of horror movies deliberately exploiting exactly that mismatch, and the culturally reinforced fear becomes almost universal. So there they are. 6 completely different fears, 6 completely different mechanisms, and one thing in common. Every single one of them is your brain's ancient alarm system, either misfiring or simply overtuned for a world that doesn't exist anymore. Which one did you recognize yourself in? Tell us in the comments. And if there's a phobia we didn't cover that you want broken down, drop that too. Subscribe. We're taking a second look at everything else next.